We bring in now our friend from Fox News, Joe Concha, who is – Joe, are you a Knicks fan?
I am not.
Oh, that's a shame because Buck grew up a Knicks fan, and I was going to give you a little bit of praise because the Knicks finally won a playoff series last night, and they did so in exciting fashion. Jalen Brunson crossover, draining a three.
Yep.
And so I thought maybe you were a Knicks fan too. Well, we'll skip that. It is a big week for you, however, because you have got a brand new book out, and it's about Trump, greatest political comeback ever. And I know that it's been 6 months-ish since the election day itself, but it's still kind of remarkable. History, I think, and you're writing a version of history with this first kind of draft of history because it's still so current.
Yeah.
History is going to have a hell of a story to tell in the 2024 election for a long time to come.
I think it was the craziest time we've ever seen, guys, in any campaign ever. I mean, there's one point, Clay, Buck, June 27th, 2024, that debate in Atlanta. I was there at Georgia Tech, and we all saw Joe Biden's brain turn to applesauce. The media was shocked. Democrats were shocked. You guys have been talking about his cognitive decline on this show for many years. I have as well. So It wasn't a surprise to us. But then think about what happens after that. July 11th, Joe Biden says that we need to put Trump in a bullseye, unquote, right? And then 2 days later, Butler, Pennsylvania, somehow a 20-year-old kid is able to hide a high-powered rifle next to the one building that has perfect line of sight to Donald Trump. He's then able to get up on the building because nobody decided to secure it. They had some personnel inside of it, which does nothing. But there, that kid is right up on that building. And if Donald Trump doesn't turn his head hard to the right to read a chart that he had never read before in a rally, then we're having a much different conversation right now. And then July 15th, there he is at the RNC with a big bandage on his ear. He chooses J.D. Vance, which not a lot of people expected. 6 days later, Joe Biden drops out of the race. And a day or two later, pretty much the Democratic Party consolidated around Kamala Harris. So if you just look at that 24-day stretch alone, it's never going to get any nuttier than that.
And yet they thought Kamala Harris was going to be able to pull this out at the last second. I mean, I remember do you remember, Joe, I know you do because you wrote the book about it, and also you're Joe, and you cover this too, but when they had that, I think it was about 2 weeks, maybe in August, where all of a sudden it was, oh, look at Kamala's numbers. She's the greatest. And a lot of us looking at each other like,
Buck stayed strong. I was a little bit nervous. I'll be honest.
True. That was when I made the call that Trump would win by more than he beat Hillary by, which in August of 2024 felt like a little bit of a crazy thing to say, but now, of course, looks great in retrospect. But do you think any of them actually believed it, Joe, when it came to Kamala, or did they just have no choice and they knew it?
It was like hope casting, right? And it was a mirage because she was doing these rallies, and you saw the big crowds and the enthusiasm and Brat Summer, and she's bringing joy back to the campaign. But she wasn't doing any interviews during that time. Remember, July 23rd or so, she became the nominee in essence, and then she didn't do an interview until September. Like, they wouldn't even let her go on The View or MSNBC. So she was, the prompter candidate and read the same speeches over and over again and talked about how she worked at a McDonald's, which, of course, never happened. What I knew that Trump was going to win was the Teamsters had these internal polls that they put out. And one, when he was up against Joe Biden, that being Trump, Biden's up by 10 points because he's always portrayed himself as a very pro-union guy. Kamala then gets installed Soviet style, and they do another poll among the rank and file Teamsters, and Trump is up by 30. You're like, wow, that's a 40-point friggin' swing. And then Trump's gaining black vote and he's gaining Latino votes. And you're thinking, who's left to vote for Kamala Harris exactly? I mean, the childless cat ladies? I mean, that was basically all that was left over.
Joe, there's so many different angles, and I got your book, and I appreciate you sending it out, and I'm looking forward to checking it out in general. But this thing of suddenly pivoting and going after people that they claimed were phenomenal. I don't know if you've seen this today, but New York Magazine has a huge cover story where they say, and I'm reading from the tease from New York Magazine, it's about John Fetterman, Pennsylvania senator. Former current staffers paint a picture of an erratic senator who's become almost impossible to work for and whose mental health situation is more serious and complicated than previously reported. It's become harder to tell whether or not he can even do the job. And it ends with, they worry he may present a danger to the Democrat Party and maybe even to himself. If he's not pro-Israel, Is this story ever written, in your opinion, Joe?
If he didn't go to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Trump, would it be ever written? If he didn't say that we need much stronger border security, like things that Democrats have a real problem saying. All these things. If I'm John Fetterman, I say, Democratic Party, screw you. All right, I'm out. I'll go caucus with Republicans now. If you don't want me, that's fine, because this was clearly a plant. And the fact that everybody cheered on John Fetterman in 2022 when he ran against Dr. Oz for that Pennsylvania Senate seat, while he literally needed like closed captioning in order to like do interviews. He couldn't do small talk. Oh no, that's ableism. You guys can't attack him because he had a heart attack. And now, of course, they're trying to drive him out because he's the one Democrat that I could see at this point that is making common sense arguments, and that's a big no-no in the party of crazy.
We're speaking to Joe Concha, Fox News, and, of course, his book out this week, The Greatest Comeback Ever, Inside Trump's Big, Beautiful Campaign, probably the biggest, the most beautiful of all campaigns, all time. And, Joe, what happens now? You know, I know you've covered the media a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you're a media guy who covers media. You covered them for many years. And, for example, we have discussed on this show that there's another book that will be coming out next month, which we don't have to give the title of, not that we even know the title, but where Jake Tapper of CNN has teamed up with Axios reporter or political
Alex
reporter.
Thompson,
yeah, to write a book about the Biden dementia cover-up. What is the possible rationale to be in the Democrat-aligned media and writing a book now about the Biden dementia cover-up if you weren't walking around wearing a bright orange T-shirt saying, guys, our man has dementia, he can't be president anymore, when it mattered? Like, what's the game plan here?
The game plan is 3 letters, Buck. CIA. They're going to pretend that they actually were covering this and covering it in a tough way. You could probably find this soundbite. It's from 2020. Laura Trump is on CNN with Jake Tapper, and she says that she believes that Joe Biden is going through a cognitive decline, which was obvious even during that campaign. And Tapper just scolds her, says, no, it's a stutter. Oh, you don't have any proof of that. We don't like conspiracy theories on this network. And you're like, oh, boy. So, pain is temporary, but film is forever. So please, let's play that clip as much as possible on this show. Because for Jake Tapper now to turn around and talk about how the media missed the story about Joe Biden's cognitive decline, Alex Thompson, who wrote this with him, kept saying this at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, that reporters missed the story, that they were deceived by the White House. No, there's no story to miss. If you had eyes, ears, sobriety, and sanity, you could see Joe Biden shaking hands with the air after he finished his speech. You could see he didn't know how to get off a stage after doing it for 50 years. You could see he's like the kid from The Sixth Sense having conversations with dead people, in this case, like dead leaders. You don't need to be told by a White House source that Joe Biden's having problems. You just needed to observe him 5 minutes outside of a teleprompter where he was a human Chernobyl when speaking outside of one.
Where do Democrats go from here? You're writing the book about the greatest political comeback. To be fair, if you had been on with us in May of 2021 and you had said, hey, guys, Trump's going to win a landslide victory in November 2024. I don't think it's going to be close. A lot of people would have said, that's a bold prediction. I wouldn't have bought onto it then. Obviously, we're now in May of 2025. It doesn't feel like Democrats have any future at all. Buck, I don't know if you've seen this. CBS News has a big expose up about Kamala Harris. They say she's not sure what she's going to do, but her options are she may do nothing at all, she may run for governor, or she may run for president. So they have an entire feature where they say she could do anything. Where does Kamala go from here? She's the defeated candidate. It's May 2025. Is her career over or not? And who are the Democrats? Do you buy Stephen A. Smith? Do you think there's any outsiders? Who are the Democrats that might emerge as we get closer to 2028?
Okay, Clay. So if we're going to apply logic here, then Democrats would be wise to nominate Andy Beshear, Kentucky governor. I know he's a bit vanilla. I know he's boring, and you need to have a performative aspect to every campaign. We saw it with Obama. We saw it with Trump. Biden doesn't count because that was COVID, and that was like the bubble year when the Lakers won the championship. I can't even count that, right? That wasn't a normal thing.
Let me pause here for a sec. Andy Beshear is the biggest pussy willow on the planet.
I wanted to say that, but I'll let you.
Yeah. I have to add Willow. I hope they nominate him. He is the most milquetoast, complete loser with no spine whatsoever. He would get obliterated, but he might be their pick. Sorry, I just have to put that in there. this guy, I hate to say it because he went to Vanderbilt. We're both alums from the same school, but he's a total loser with no sponsor.
Wow. Okay. I wanted to go Pussy Willow, but I wasn't sure if the FCC would have like a problem with that. So thank you for that. The Willow's the whole thing. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Blank Willow. That was from the Howard Stern movie. Let's see. So, but my mild retort would be that he is at 68% approval in a red state like Kentucky. So
I don't believe it. I don't believe
you think that's a fake poll?
Rate.
Okay, very good.
I like when Tennessee sticks up for Kentucky. On this one, Clay is like, you know what? I'm not going to throw Kentucky under the bus and believe that 70% of them actually like their governor.
Yes,
so.
That's great. But you're right about 2021. I never would have predicted that Trump would be sitting where he is today. I was on board with Ron DeSantis. I was publicly on board with Ron DeSantis. I thought that he was Trump without the baggage, without the 94 felony counts, without not a hostile media, but not as hostile a media, but it probably would have happened anyway. But the way he was running Florida, he wins by 18 points in 2022. And I go down there to do a speech. It was in Naples, Florida, and there's maybe 250 people there. And I did a straw poll, like, who would you like to be the nominee on the Republican side? And I thought that DeSantis would get half the votes because he just did so well in that election. And DeSantis maybe got 10%. Nikki Haley got like 1%, and the other 90 basically went to Donald Trump. I'm like, boy, no one's going anywhere. They are loyal to this man. And that's when I started to change my mind about Trump. As for Kamala, her career's over. I don't even think she could win in California. You remember in 2019 when she ran for president, she dropped out before the California primary because she was polling at 6th place in California, her own state, behind Andrew friggin' Yang. I mean, so I don't know. After this election, I think a lot of people saw that she's all foam and no beer, all bubbles and no bath. And this is somebody that if they nominate her, they could lose 51 states, which is mathematically impossible. But I think it would be that bad. Then the other alternative is AOC, which she has the energy, I guess. She has a social media following. She's never passed one piece of legislation since she's been in Congress, sure. But that doesn't matter, I guess, in this world. So I could see AOC. But then again, is she going to really win Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada? I can't see her doing well in those states. So I don't know where Democrats go here. It's probably somewhere we're not even talking about, like a Mark Cuban or somebody like that.
God forbid. Joe, go get the book. We encourage everybody to check it out. Give us the title one more time for people as they roll into the weekend.
Okay, I will give you the title that I wanted, all right? The Greatest Comeback Ever, Inside Trump's Big Beautiful Campaign, Unburdened by What Has Been. But they said I couldn't put the last part on because there wasn't enough real estate on the cover. So go figure. So yeah, The Greatest Comeback Ever. Thank you, guys. It's a bestseller.
Awesome. Joe Concha, you'll see him on Fox News. You can find him in your bookstores. Best comeback ever. Go check it out. I want to tell you, it is not Mother's Day yet. Okay, so I don't want all the men out there to panic. But next weekend is Mother's Day. So maybe you do need to panic because you only have, what is the math, 9 days? You only have 9 days to get taken care of. May is here. Mother's Day matters. Father's Day does not. That is the reality. Don't screw up Mother's Day. And I have an incredible offer for a lot of you. How about the gift of a lifetime of memories made by your family, all digitized forever with Legacy Box help? Legacy Box, right here in my home state of Tennessee, they've got more old VCRs than anybody on the planet, and they can hook you up. They will make sure that all your old VHS tapes, all your old slides, all your old photographs, all of them are preserved forever digitally, and you can share it with mom, with grandma, with your aunts, with your wives, with whoever you would like that is a mom in your life. It's an incredible gift. It's a thoughtful gift. They will be stunned that you managed to pull this off. All you have to do is go to legacybox.com/Clay for the best Mother's Day sale ever. You don't want to get a robe. You don't want to get, God forbid, a vacuum cleaner. You don't want to give mom something she doesn't want. Stun her with your incredible gift of Legacy Box. Legacybox.com/Clay, 60% off their regular prices. Legacybox.com/Clay, 60% off. Get hooked up with a Mother's Day present now before you blow it. Legacybox.com/Clay.